You'll never believe that none of the universities that are actual universities, brick and mortar universities, they don't have salesmen selling these things. So I'm kind of amazed. NPR did that story. Bloomberg did that story. By the way, folks, the name of the new Business Week magazine nowadays is Bloomberg Business Week.
That's right, and I believe Newsweek also is
on the market.
Is on the market for sale.
They're not doing too well.
But you know, it's not surprising to me that the Washington Post is using this as a business investment, right? This is a business.
Yes.
It seems altruistic because it's about education and trying to give people degrees, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and they're looking for profits. And you think about
for-profit business.
It's a for-profit business, and
universities generally, the brick and mortar universities, folks, they will tell you they are 501c3 corporations. They are non-profit, so that's the difference.
So you have to do your homework before you decide to get on board with one of these online programs. And, you know, these media companies are hurting. The Post, along with other newspapers, they're hurting. This is their way of trying to get some of that revenue back.
But I want to tell you, they have to take loans from the federal government, then they have to pay it back. And, of course, many of them cannot pay it back. So who do you think foots the bill? There you go. So that's what I said. $26.4 billion is a help to online universities.
Well, speaking of universities, I'm sure many of you in the news saw the latest appointment to the Harvard Business School of Nitin Noria. He's the new dean. And, of course, it's a very prominent position. And he is a graduate of the Indian Institute of Technology, IIT, in Bombay. This is a very significant appointment. He describes himself as someone who has a strong appetite for innovation and transformational educational experiences. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, he did also get his management degree, PhD, from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Sloan School of Management. So he's got pedigree. But it's nice to see yet another Indian leader appointed at such a high position with such influence.
True, but there's a new culture in these colleges. You got to remember, a lot of these MBAs have done pretty wrong things. For instance, Enron and WorldCom and the others. So
there's a role of ethics that needs to be...
That's true.
Right.
But you know, in the last few years, the universities were actually taking students to the prison to show them and have them meet some of the white-collar criminals. They even had some of the most prominent white-collar criminals as teachers to come in and relay their experiences with the students.
They don't need to go to prisons. They just need to go to Goldman Sachs.
But basically, that is the culture that these new deans will have to change. You know, they're coming in with a fresh mind, and they want these kids to understand that you cannot exploit the loopholes. You need to close the loopholes. Don't come through the back door. Come through the front door. Because there's money to be made through the front door. It doesn't have to be always from the back door. So these new deans, I wish them the very best. I think America at this point really need the upfront, in-your-face honesty.
I think Indians, to that point, we have that reputation in business. So far, we've been able to maintain that kind of presence, and I mean, apart from the one or two instances. But I do think that generally speaking,
mostly,
Indians are regarded highly. So this is an attestation, if nothing else, of where we are with respect to being viewed by the world and by prominent institutions.
On the other hand, here's a story which is actually called Family Feud. But it has tremendous repercussions and very big players are involved. This is about Ambani brothers, Mukesh and Anil. Mukesh is the older brother, and he owns the big mega complex.
Goliath, that is.
Goliath merchant companies.
They're in everything. I mean, that's their behemoth to the point where they now have their hands in just about every part of development across India.
Too big to fail companies. Yeah. Now, what happened is Mukesh and Anil, when they were settling their feud back 5 years ago, they decided that Anil will get the gas at a cheaper price than what the market price was, and that was part of the agreement that they had. But then Mukesh said the government told him that you got to sell gas at a certain price. The government has a sovereign right to fix the price of a commodity that is extremely important to the country. called national security. So he told Anil that, no, I cannot sell it to you at the price that I promised. I'll sell you at the market price the government tells me to sell it to you. So Anil, of course, says, come on now, you know.
We had an agreement.
We had an agreement. It's in writing. I'm going to take you to court. So he took it all the way to Supreme Court. So Supreme Court last Friday decided in favor of Mukesh.
I'm not surprised, because you are talking about a national resource. You're talking about oil, right? And look at how oil is driving our industry here in the U.S. and our economy. So
that's right.
Why should it be different overseas?
It was gas, but that's okay. It's within the same commodity group. And I want to tell you that Anil Ambani almost said that Mukesh bought the entire government. And the government bought his argument. But the Supreme Court says, no, wait a second. And folks, this is very important for you to know, too, that he did not publicly record his agreement, which is extremely important in the business world. For instance, if you own a house, you need to have a public record. You know, that's extremely important. So he lost this entire argument only on one thing. The agreement that they had, it was private, it was not made public. So that's why he lost it. But it's better to lose to an older brother than
I don't know
for
about
an older
that.
brother to lose to a younger brother.
I don't know about that. No matter how you look at it, family feuds are just ugly, and especially when you have an organization this big. You know, this is kind of reminiscent to me of Google, not because of the family feud angle, but you know, you look at where Google is now, and they're so omnipresent into just about everything we're doing in the online space. People are starting to say about Google, similar to what they're saying about Reliance. It's just too big, too massive, and pretty soon it's going to take over just about everything. So is it yet again another monopoly? You know, back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, we broke up monopolies, right? We broke up AT&T because it was so big. I wonder if we're heading down that same path with Reliance in India and heading down that same path with Google here. Reliance, because once the brothers are out of power, right, you're going to have new, fresh blood take leadership here. And I just don't understand how the two halves of Reliance can really continue. I think they're already bifurcating. They'll probably split further down the road.
Don't hold your breath for them to retire just yet. They have a lot of life and they will go forward. But it is true. You know, there's no reason for these companies to be as big as they are. They really can't handle it. And if they have to